Okay, so welcome to this tutorial session. It's going to be about web development, model serving with a Flask. So if you remember, last time we talked about Fast. We used Fast API for last challenge or the last tutorial last time. So this time is in a similar way, but it's just a different tool with some differences in usage. There are lots of similarities, but there are differences as well when using Flask instead. So as a bit of an introduction, so like we discussed last time, so that we are going to be using Flask to deploy the model. And again, this is an API development, so we want to create API endpoints where we can serve the model. Okay, so we talked about what is an API last time, and we talked about that it's an intermediary, and that there are different frameworks to create to build APIs in Python. With Fast API, we talked about Fast API last time. Now, this time, we're going to be talking about Flask. So, similar to Fast API, Flask is a framework for Python. It's a lightweight WSGI application framework, which, if you know, for Fast API, it's Fast API kind of built on Flask, but it is an ASGI framework. So there are the difference here. So it's easy to start with, and it's it's not going to be complicated. But compared to Fast API, you're going to see a comparison in a bit more like more points by points kind of a comparison, or in a specific a few features. But Flask depends on WSGI toolkit, WorkZook, I think it's called. There is a templating engine, Jinja and Click for CLI toolkit. So this is what it depends on. So mainly what's the main difference, let's say, between Fast API and Flask is that Fast API, you can use it to build APIs, just APIs endpoints. As I remember last time, we used the API. Fast API has this automatic documentation, but we could see our endpoints with Swagger, the Swagger UI. We can see the different endpoints. With Flask, we can actually build a small or an actual an app. So you can actually, because of this templating, you can actually render an actual web application. Small, but you can do that with Flask. And so this is like the main thing. So instead, Flask doesn't have an automatic documentation. It doesn't automatically generate documentation, so you cannot use the same kind of thing to see your APIs API endpoints. But we can actually write a template and render it, and you can see it actually. We'll see that in the demo. Anyway, so the key features for Flask, that it's a light framework. It uses Jinja 2 templating. It can work with it had a lot of support, so with different extensions. It's has support for unit testing as well, and there is development server and debugger. This is just a main feature of it. So once you write your code, you can run it in a development server locally and in a debugger mode and see like all the errors and stuff like that. Okay, so and just to emphasize the differences between Flask and Fast API, so this is just like a kind of few of them. So when writing it, so just me stop sharing and share like my whole screen just to show you the code. Second. Okay. So that I'm talking about is clear. Okay. So just in a second, let me close everything I have here. Um, right. So forget about all of these different files. A very simple app would be like just a hello world app. And in this one, let's stop here. Okay, so in this app, you can see like what you need to do. What I did is that like I'm jumping right into the well, we start just looking at it. I'm not going to jump right into everything right now, but it's kind of very similar to how you use a Fast API. Fast API, you import the Fast API, you define an app, which is an instance of the class, and then you use this at app and then to with post or get for Fast API. Here it's similar, kind of similar, but almost the same actually. But it's like how you use it. Like there, you will use the decorator app dot get or dot post to for the different um, kinds of HTTP requests. But here you use route and then you use method equal to get or post. And you can also like, so this is just like the equivalent of this. Actually, Flask also has get and post similar to this one. So it's Fast API for the basic request kind of request. But you can also define it like this. So this is really not a big difference, but it just another thing you can do, another difference, this is important, is that Fast API, this is something we emphasized last time, is that it has built-in data validation feature because it is built on Pydantic, but Flask doesn't have built-in data validation. So you have to do that on your own. Sorry. Here like the difference in error message display, this one in Flask it is HTML. The error messages are going to be HTML, while in Fast API is in JSON format. Another important difference between Fast API and Flask is that Fast API has asynchronous support. As you remember, we discussed last time, Flask doesn't have asynchronous support, which is like this is if you really need asynchronous support, this means like Flask is not really suitable. This means also like in scaling up, Flask is less suitable for scaling. Well, when you need asynchronous support, sometimes for when you're scaling. Another thing, okay, this is what I mentioned before, like this is difference in the like what kind of web framework they are based on. And so this is WSDI, this is ASDI. And again, another difference is that documentation in Fast API is automatic. In Flask, you have to create them yourself. So, okay. So this is the most important differences. And I'm not going to go more than this, basically. So this is the end, basically, of this presentation. This I will just go into how to use into the demo, unless there is a question. Is there any questions? I have to close this one. Any questions so far? So, okay, as what you're looking at the moment. So this is a simple app, okay, with Flask. I call it hello.py. And all it does is that is going to print a hello world in on the page. When okay, so as I said, what I did is that I created a virtual environment and pip installed Flask. So just pip install Flask. Okay, it's already installed, of course. You can see that it's installed Ginger to click and so and with work Zook, I think it's called. So this is the three things that are based on. And okay. And here I have only one endpoint, okay, which is at the root. I define a function hello world, and this one returns an HTML. Okay, so it's a paragraph, like HTML. So I have these tags between these what do you call this, triangle brackets. P. So I have this hello world. So HTML. Like if you don't need to learn a lot about this. But anyway, this is a basic default response. So this is what it returns. So, and once I have this, I can run it using Flask. Flask, I need to tell it what app I want to run. So it's with flag app. This is called hello. Right, and then run. Here is going to run, by default, is going to run at the local host at port 5000. And you can see it here. So it's hello world, right? This is here. If you look at the, you see like I have a get request at, and it's 200. So it's works fine. Another way to run it, of course, is to just, this last part is for, like, I didn't need this last part to run actually the code. Here I buy another way to run it is so I can write this. So use app.run, and I can define the host to be, so I'm using a local host again, port 5000, and I'm running it in debug mode, and you can see the difference here. Well, it will be clear the difference if there is any error. Actually, I can run the code using Python 3 and hello, so I don't need to use Flask in this case. And you can see here debugger is active in this case. And if any error happens, I can debug it right on the terminal, basically. So this is like a very basic app with a very basic endpoint, an endpoint. So here I have, instead, like if I want to serve a model, so you can see like I have serve model.py. This is another just web application built with Flask. But here I have basically what I need is I have to main, just let me comment this for now. This is, let me call it 5000 as well. It's not running here. Okay, it's not important at the moment. Okay, so what I have here, let's say I have a model for identifying emails that like if it's a spam email or not. Okay, and I have the model already here. It's already pickled and ready to be used. I have a script for using the model defined here. So this one will load. So I have like a what's it called? A tokenizer and a model that will a classifier. Okay, so if I get I had defining a model here, sorry, define function that will take as an email text, and it will transform it with this tokenizer model and get a prediction with the classifier. So, and it will return yeah, so the prediction is either 1 or 0, but sorry, if 1 or 0, I'm going to return either 1 or -1 for if 1 if the email is spam, or -1 if the email is not a spam. Okay, so I have this utility function, model predict, here in my scripts, and basically my endpoint is going to get an email and use the model to predict and post that result. And you can see, like, I have in my home. So in my home, like, this is like before the endpoint for home. This one is like similar to what I had before. It is similar up to here, but up to the return. In return, I have render template, which I'm using this index.html. So this is where the difference between, like, from what I did before. I'm rendering a template. As this template, I defined it. It's here in templates. So this is what you usually, like, in Flask, there is like can look at with documentation. You can see usually what is like recommended, like structure of your project, what you can have here. And usually can have templates for this, like index.html can be anything actually. But what in general, what I have here is that I have, I'm going to have a web page. In the web page, there will be like a title, email spam classifier. So there is a style, like this is not really important, this CSS definitions. And then what's important is that I'm going to have a form where you can insert, like, or can write an email, and then a button to submit the form. And that form, we're going to send a post request to which will be like my endpoint, and get yeah, and we'll get a result. So I will come back to this form later, but I'm just want to let me run on this and just like I want just to show you actually. So Python, I'm going to serve model.py. Okay. Again, so I'm seeing like warning and stuff in the terminal because of I'm running it in the debugging mode. Okay, so you can see, so the home, I'm getting instead of just before I just had hello world on the corner, now I have this form and a title, which are defined in this index.html. So I have the title, the header, and this form here with a button like attached to it. Okay. So so this is the first endpoint here, right? The second one is like in predict. Again, suppose it will get a form. So I'm using request.form get the content of the form, and then using the function defined here. This is model predict, and to render it to return to render the template with these values, so prediction and email. And you can see these are here. Sorry, I close this one. Sorry. Let's see, this is a quite okay. Before, with the first endpoint, I had this one, this part. Okay, this first part. The second part of it, you can see this is like where the Jinja templating is evident. So you can see what you can. Okay, so these are HTML just tags, normal, form, div, and h1. But here for Jinja templating, you have this curly brackets and percentage sign. This is where you can have like a control, like if and for, and from Python, basically. So this is the definition of the templating here. You can see it. Right, so this control flow statement like if and for are between curly bracket and percentage sign. Two curly brackets is the output for the final document. So you can see this one. Here, so you can see here it's used email here, this one, and between two curly brackets, so output to the final form, and here this prediction control. So this will take two things. It will take email and prediction. If I have them, right? So basically, that's why I have it here in the template with these two key values, prediction and email, and this will be used here. So it will sorry, if I have prediction, if the prediction is equal to 1, it will render spam, so this one. Or if it's doesn't, the prediction is not equal to 1, which is not a spam, it will render the second one. So it will be red or green, the output. So this is how this works. So what happens in like here, sorry, my previous one. Okay, so I have this form. Basically, I can write here like any email, whatever. I don't know. It's like whatever this is, like the model will give me. So when I press button, it will submit and it will go to the endpoint predict. Okay, and it gave me not spam because this is the prediction is not a spam. Say if I have something else, like okay, it doesn't matter. So it works like I want to give an example of like a spam email, like deciding I have some suspicious emails, whatever, and let's see if it works. Sorry, I have to reset first and then okay. Anyway, so I'm not going to do that again. But anyway, I hope that is clear. I don't know if like is there any questions? Is it clear so far what I explained? Or like what you have? Does this like this is just you don't need necessarily to do this in with like similarly, but I hope that you get an idea of how you can you can use this, you can use Flask in a different way. So before with Fast API, we were using the documentation to see the different endpoints. Of course, you can always use Postman to look at the API endpoints. And we can do that also with Flask. So last time maybe I didn't show you this, but maybe you did on your own. So because Fast API has this automatic documentation, so you didn't really need to use these other options like Postman and to check the different endpoints. So you can see like here, basically, so this is Postman, and I am going to sorry. Okay, so I'm going to use new HTTP and enter the URL I need. So I had a little issue with that. Okay, I'm sorry. Just wanted to show that you can use. It's not gonna work. Anyway, you can see you can put the URL here, the endpoint here. So it will be HTTP 127.0.0.1 and with the port with 5000, and you can change the here from get to post and basically see what is the kind of response you can get basically from your, you can test your endpoints with Postman here. Yeah, so you can do that with Fast API, Flask, anything else as well. So this is another way to check your API endpoints. Yeah, so that's basically like in debug mode. So if I change anything, it's going to reload directly. Actually, okay. Anyway, so I know there are any. Are there any questions? Let me check. Any questions? Anything that is not clear? Is everything clear? Like what you think you understand what you need to do, or what is like the basic requirements here, or and the basics of what Flask is and what you can use it for? Is everything clear for you? Any reaction? Can we get a reaction from you? If everything is clear, just give me a thumbs up, and then otherwise you can ask any questions you have. Okay. Okay, so if everything is clear, I think we can end the session here. And